All right, let's add the copyright text into this content area box. So we'll start out by grouping these little callout boxes and the layers that make those up. So I'm going to come over here. This is obviously my brush, and that's my W. So I'm going to combine those into a group and just call this W icon. And then I'll get the objects that make up my rectangle and just call this the pencil icon. All right, now I just need to add a couple of headings over here. If we look at our mock-up from the original, we have our W, we have web design, and then a little bit of text underneath it. So I'll just pull over here to the W icon. Oops, I'm in the wrong document. And let's select the W icon, and it looks about right. We'll just kind of move it up a little bit. And then we'll zoom in tight here and build in a heading here. So I'll just get my type tool, go back up to the Myriad Pro, which we've been working with. Let's see if I can, whoops. There we go, set that to Myriad Pro regular. And we'll just say web design here. And we'll double click this and we'll set that to our orange color there and put that there. Now these icons are just a little bit big for the page, so I'm actually going to scale them both down. So I'll grab both of these, free transform, and scale those objects down a bit so they're not quite as large. Whoops, I've got the wrong thing highlighted there. So we need to unselect the text and get the icon and the pencil. That's what I'm trying to free transform. Now it's giving me a free transform box around the entire document. And that's actually because inside of my W icon, let me cancel out of here and explain this. Inside of my W icon, we made this brush with a vector mask instead of a shape. And so it's actually an entire layer filled with pixels attached to a vector mask. That's why when we free transform, it uses the entire document bounds. But that's okay. So we'll highlight both of these and free transform and just kind of shrink these down a little bit to a closer size. And we'll zoom back in. And the good thing, because all of these are vector objects we created, they'll resize and they'll just be perfectly crisp. Now we'll reposition this W back up here in the top left. And we'll take this pencil and position it. I'm just going to quickly drop a guide so I can align these just about the same. So we'll stick that there, grab the W, bring it down here so those tops are pretty much aligned. Then grab both of those and bring those up with the nudging with the arrow tools. So that looks pretty good. I'll get rid of that guide we used temporarily there. We'll get rid of this guide as well, and while we're at it, we'll just hide the guide. So again, command semicolon to hide those guides. Now we'll put our body copy back in here. So let's turn on that web design layer and free transform. Whoops. Free transform that layer up to increase the size of this heading. And we'll stick that there. Grab another one and pull it over here. And we'll call this copy writing. And I was thinking in my head when I was typing that, that's not correct. It's not a copyright, it's copyright W. With a W. All right, so let's pull, we want to make sure that we have these two centered inside of here. So we can grab a guide and center in this box right here to get the center of this box. So if we select, this is our content box down here. If we select that box and pull a guide, we should get a snap to center point, which is right there. And so we'll leave a guide there. We'll bring this copywriting box that we created along with its copywriting icon. So the copywriting text, and we'll hold down command and select the pencil icon, and we'll nudge these over so that they both kind of center. So we'll center this guy up. We're centering between this and this. So this guy's a little confusing. Maybe we'll get rid of that. But just be aware, between the edge here and the edge here, we want to center this up. And so that looks pretty close, and then we'll do the same thing here with the web design. So we'll grab the web design copy and the web design icon, excuse me, and we'll center these up. All right, so that's pretty close there. And then we'll just add a little bit of body copy underneath these so that we can replicate a little bit of text. And we're going to use lorem ipsum again to do that for us. So we'll grab our text tool here. We're going to be adding a lorem ipsum box exactly around the text area right here. We don't just want to drag a box around, because if we paste lorem ipsum at this point, you can see it's going to overlap the W, and we want that text to wrap around the W. So we're going to delete that text layer. And what we need to do is first create a shape where we can paste the text into. So we're going to select the rectangle shape tool and make sure that we're not on shape, make sure we're on path. And with your path mode, we can create our first shape. So we'll create the initial box of where the text is going to flow. And again, you can use spacebar while you're dragging to position this exactly where you would like. And simply let go to select that shape. Now we want to hold down Option, which is subtraction mode, and cut out the top piece of this box where the W is. So essentially I'm cutting out the box so that the text will wrap around this area. So I'll let go right there. Then when I select my type tool, you'll see there's this dotted circle around my type selection tool. If I click inside of that path, when I paste now, it will only paste in this shape. So I can go to my type, head down to paste lorem ipsum, and you can see it pastes neatly inside of that, wrapping around the W. Then I would just need to, of course, adjust the size here. So I can bring the font size of this maybe down to 12, put the color back to black, and now I've got my welcome text on this web design call out wrapped neatly around the W. And I'm just going to hold down Option, click and drag, and pull this over on the copyright, because it's roughly the same idea for the copyright sign. So we'll pull those, and that consists that's most of the work that we have to do for these copyrights. Now the only thing I do want to do is I don't want these shapes to actually be black. They should be maybe a dark gray or maybe even a green. So I'm going to change the color of each of these. So we'll come into the pencil icon first, and I can select this, go to my layer style and choose color overlay, and I can overlay this compound shape with that green color. Whoops, first I need to select this, then I can choose that green that's part of my swatch. So it's as easy as, whoops, I pressed cancel. It's as easy as adding a color overlay. We'll go back and add that color overlay. Anyway, you can play around with the opacity and color of these objects, but that's a simple way to add color. What I'm going to do is just back off the opacity on each of these groups so that they match. That one looks like is 48, and I'll make this one match at 48 as well. So now those icons are in place. We have our web and our copywriting icon. We can move down to build the callout box.